Greetings and welcome to the Power Gamer Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Dawson, joined as always by fellow host, the host with the most, Kim Ponticello. You are the most present other host here tonight.
I am the most present. I feel like there's somebody missing. I don't know.
Hey, you know what? It's been a long time since it was just the Mike and Kim show here, so
True.
We're taking advantage of it tonight. Johnny is tied up with some guests in his abode, and we're going to take advantage of it and give the people something a little different this week.
Yeah,
just Mike and Kim, which is almost. Oh gosh, the word left me just as I was about to say it. Like the name Hannah, it's a palindrome. Except I have that pesky E in there, Mike and Kim.
Yeah, close though.
It was so close. So close. Kim, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing good, actually. I'm doing good. I'm I don't know, in touch with a lot of people and progressing and doing my thing and packing, and I'm going to get my passport soon, and I'm stressed out but excited, and yeah, I don't know.
I haven't touched base
good.
with you on this. Is the move like imminent, or what's going on?
It's so hard to say because like in our minds it's like this has to be imminent, but at the same time there's still so much to do that it's scary because it's like, are we going to be able to get this all done? Because nothing can really be done right now at this moment because it's such a weird state. Like getting housing there is very, very different. Like, you know, here in the US, for the most part, you go to look at a place and it's like, okay, I'll let you know, but there you go to look at a place and you have to literally say right then and there, like, okay, I'll take it. Here's my money. Because within half hour, somebody else will take it. So it's just very, very different. And we still have to get the paperwork done, which you also can't do too soon. So it's like, there's so much up in the air, but it kind of has to be imminent, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Interesting. That sounds like complete fucking chaos on like one of the most important things.
We're keeping it pretty chill. And honestly, Pike is like one of the, and for anybody listening, his real name is not Pike. I'm just gonna, that's his like online name. He's a very private person. But he's like honestly one of the most calm, chill people I've ever met and have ever like shared my life with. So it's interesting because I tend to not be. I can kind of overthink and I kind of get a little bit worked up and a little bit worried. But he's like super chill but not lax, which is really nice. Like he's not super chill like, yeah, don't worry about it. He's super chill like, hey, look, this is going to be the step that's next. Don't worry about it. So it's like, okay. Like, which is great because I kind of need that in my life because, yeah, I don't do well with people who are, I don't do well with somebody who's also like, oh, and at the same time, I also don't do well with somebody who acts like they really don't care because I'm like, don't you care? So it's like, it works out.
Yeah, that would have me.
And he's very patient with me, which is huge.
That would have me I'm such a, I'm like a hermit crab. I just like to retreat to shell. And yeah, I mean, it's so big leaving the country, going far away, and just immediately planting roots. It's like got this like adventurous kind of idea to it that I'm sure appeals to a lot of people. But for me, it's like nothing could sound worse to me than like if Amy were to say, hey, we've got to go to live in Belgium next year. I'd be I don't know what I'd do. I'd be like,
it's definitely really weird, but I'm really glad that I took the step I did a few years ago, because if I were going from New Jersey, where I basically lived my entire life, and then all of a sudden uprooting and going to the Netherlands, it would be really terrifying. But I took that huge step of leaving New Jersey and moving cross country to a place I'd never been. And I think this was a nice step because everybody here is like really chill and really mellow. And so I took these last few years to understand and get better at being a little bit more chill and being a little bit more slow and methodical, because you can't be like that in the part of New Jersey that I was in. I was right next to New York City. So you can't, like, you just can't be like super chill and mellow. And out here, you kind of have to be. You have to be very patient with people. And so I think that's a nice lead in to Netherlands, because, you know, the saying is that nobody relaxes as well as the Dutch. So, you know, they're super chill there, and like Sundays are for relaxing, and when you're not on the clock, you're relaxing, and that's like not me. And so it's taken a few years of me to like kind of start getting into that. So
That's cool. I don't
yeah.
have anything nearly that to that level going on. Yeah, it's just I'm like boring middle-aged man of man. Let me tell you about work, and it's like nah, it's just not that interesting. Like everyone's
Oh,
busy right now. It's
I'm
fine.
50-year-old woman who decides to make bizarre life changes,
Hey,
but life is short. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
I got to do a little bit more of my like D-list rock star stuff this past weekend, which was cool. There's a big music festival in downtown Baltimore each year. And like the two main streets in Baltimore are Lombard and Pratt. One goes one way, one goes the other. And so yeah, for this music festival, they actually shut down an entire section of Lombard, throw up a stage at the end of it, and bands get on it and play. And so like I got tapped to come play with a band,
oh,
do
that's
bass
pretty
work.
cool though.
And so yeah, I'm like standing in the middle of freaking Lombard Street with playing rock music with a band. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. It's another one of my little D-list rock star moments that I seem to have
Yeah,
each
that's
year.
fun. That's awesome. I
You know,
love that.
last year it was me and Johnny playing on the same bill as Collective Soul and Filter,
Oh,
which
Collective Soul. I know them.
yeah, dude, we were an opening act for those bands, and live was also there.
Okay.
Um, to which our kids said, "Who?"
Of course. And you were like, no, not the Who, live.
They're like, "Who? Collective who?
Collective what?
Filter? What are they filtering?" It's like, okay, yep, thanks for making us feel old. There was a time where everyone knew who these bands were. So doing some of that. I got a big orchestral production I'm part of next week, so I'll be getting the big upright bass, which like from the camera, like here in the darkness, you can kind of see it lurking there. It's
Yeah, kind of. Oh, yeah.
this thing.
Yep.
So I'll be spending most of the week on that. When I'm not playing music or doing D-list rockstar activities, I'm playing lots of video games. And that's what we're here to talk about this week.
I know.
Welcome in. This is episode 160 of your Power Gamer podcast. We appreciate all the great kindness and support. It seems like whenever we have something negative to say about Xbox, people just come pouring into our show. So I'm sorry. I love my Xbox, and I welcome you faithful defenders of the console to this podcast. Thanks for stopping by and checking it out. We appreciate all the kindness and support, and terribly negative comments that you leave us on YouTube about why I'm wrong. We appreciate it,
Yeah.
and hope that you continue to do so. If you're checking us out on YouTube, take a moment to like the video and perhaps subscribe to the channel. If you're out on audio platforms, please consider leaving us a kind review. And on Spotify, you can leave me nasty grams there as well. So I greatly appreciate it if you do so. I will respond to them, and I will be kind, because I'm never an asshole to anyone who comments, regardless of how terrible and mean you are towards me.
Mike is much nicer than me.
I'm much nicer than both you and Johnny when I'm behind a keyboard. All right, let's be clear.
Your mom is easy, Aiden.
So we appreciate the kindness and support.
Yes.
Let's get rolling here. There was a state of play today.
A what? Sorry, I barely remember it.
A state of play. it came like a soft lullaby and put many to sleep, no doubt, because this state of play was not the most interesting. Although I might preface before we dive into this in saying that I can't really think of a state of play that really blew the barn doors off.
I mean, honestly, my brain doesn't work that way. I'll forget about this by next week.
Yeah, I just don't think that's what they're for, really. I've kind of put that together. That's not really what they're for. So it's just kind of like a little update. There's a few cool things they showed. So before we get started, I just want to tell you listeners that we're not going to beat you over the brain doing a deep dive on Sony's state of play. I think that would be the most fucking boring thing on the planet. But there was a couple things that I wanted to talk about that I think are interesting, that I think are near and dear to me. And of course, there is one game that was shown that's perhaps a little bit more consequential than the rest. Concord being that one, because this is kind of like the Sony exclusive thing that's been in talks about for a while. I hadn't really seen it before, and I really didn't know what it was. And now that I have seen it, and now that I do know what it is, uh, it looks like a Overwatchy kind of hero shooter,
Yeah.
with a lot of that like Borderlands brand of writing somehow imposed into it. Uh, Kim, did you have any thoughts on this one before I kind of share mine? Or
I don't know. Not really. It's like I mean, I feel like companies are getting smart because they see that Overwatch is failing. And so people who play Overwatch are looking for other games. So there's Marvel Rivals coming out. X Defiant is kind of like COD meets Overwatch because they have like, escort missions and they have, capture points and stuff like that. And so now Concord's coming out, and I think it's great. I think it'll be great for people who are looking for that type of gameplay. I'm over it. I'm just I played so much Overwatch comp in the first Overwatch. I had like I don't even know how many hours I had in the first Overwatch, and I was Overwatched out, and then the second one came out promising PVE, and that was one of the big draws for me because I was so over the FPS, hero shooters, and then they did away with that. They were like, never mind. So I'm like, I have no interest in Concord, zero, none. But I think it'll be good for people who are looking for an alternative to.
yeah, it's weird because like my feeling about it was, for what it is, it looked good.
Yeah.
I was actually pretty taken aback by the uncanny valley of the facial animations, which I'm like, why am I having this feeling looking at a first person hero shooter? I'm like, this is weird. Like that looks too realistic almost. That it was kind of creeping me out with some of
I
them.
don't remember during the actual gameplay footage. I don't remember how it looked.
Yeah, like they'd have those spots like where so and so hero introduces themselves and like it's them with the camera shot like on their face and they're talking. I'm like, what the fuck? That looks incredible. Um, but obviously those sort of things don't really play any kind of role in a game like this. So, maybe it's just a pre-render. I don't know. But yeah, much to the same thing that you're saying is I've already tasted the Overwatch cake. I ate it, and I ate so much of it that I just kind of don't want any more of that cake.
That's kind of where I'm at. Yeah.
I need a different flavor.
Yeah.
So maybe some people haven't, and this will be the one they land on. But I just don't know because there's so many free to play options out there that already are doing this. So is this sort of like Anthem, where it's just kind of late to the party kind of thing that Destiny had kind of already done? That's maybe what it feels like to me. I don't know. I'll be interested to see how it does. This is another game that Sony is doing a la Helldivers, where they're bringing it to PlayStation and PC concurrently. So I don't know. I'll be interested to see what it does, because sometimes it's games like this, and it's why I wanted to touch on this one, even though it's not something I'm personally interested in, is that it's sometimes games like these that no one expects that just take off. Helldivers 2 was kind of that way. That was not a game that anyone expected to be particularly relevant. And, it's sold 12 million copies already.
Yeah.
People are playing the shit out of it. People are like building their brands around it and shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
so do I see those kind of things there as a possibility with a game like Concord? Yeah. Am I going to feel stupid in a year looking back at this episode and saying, man, I was really down on this game?
I mean,
Maybe.
I don't think we're really down on it. I think we're just kind of being realistic about. I'll tell you what Concord is to me. Concord to me is a game that if I have a couple friends who really like it, I'm going to end up having it and I'm going to end up playing it because my friends are playing it and I want to play with them and we get to be really stupid together.
Yeah, sure.
But then I'll play it for like a week and be like, oh God, this game is so terribly balanced and I hate playing it. And then I'll stop playing it again.
Yeah.
And then I'll go back to like V-Rising.
It looks beautiful. So I mean, there is something there. I just don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't know if it's original enough to
Yeah.
really set the world on fire. So I guess we'll
Yeah.
just have to wait and see with that one. The next one I wanted to touch on just stuck out like a sore thumb to me, in a good way, I think. And that was this game Infinity Nikki, which I've seen before. It's it was so different from everything else because it's basically like a dress 'em up, open world photography game.
Is it photography or is it like a
Yeah.
style? I thought it was a stylist
Well,
game.
it's a
Like you're a
style game, but
stylist.
like the whole thing is like putting your character in positions to like take pictures of them. So like
Yeah,
I just thought it was super different from everything else I saw.
it
I thought
was. To
I
me,
mean,
we thought it was a gotcha game.
yeah, I think it's aimed towards kids, and I won't say I said before the show because I'm just thinking off the top of my 37-year-old brain where I'm like it's for little girls, but let me clarify. Just for of feminine tastes, I think is perhaps the better way to say that. It's a very effeminate um kind of thing, which is cool because I mean, normally when we talk about females in games, right? We're talking about stellar blade boobs. We're not talking about like something that's genuinely like a Barbie alternative. And
No,
like,
this was cute. I mean,
yeah, it really
it's a
was.
cute game. It's cute. I definitely was watching it the whole time with a funny look on my face because I was like, what are we watching? What is even happening? And we definitely thought it was a gotcha game. But it's cute. It's pretty. And it's nice to have something out there because I feel like so many game showcases like showcase like fighting and horror and like all this stuff, and then all of a sudden there's Infinity Nikki and it's like you can have your style and you can style your person, and it's like, well, that's really cute. It really did. It stood out a lot. It
Well,
did.
what stood out too is that it was included in the showcase because I've seen
Mm-hmm.
tons of games, that are these kind of like dress up things. And I mean, you go back generations deep, and you see like the old Mary Kate and Ashley games, the old Hannah Montana shovelware piles of games and things like on the Wii and the PS2. That would never get any kind of highlight on them in a showcase like this.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I just kind of wanted to take a moment and point at this one because I'm like, I've got um, two stepdaughters, and I can't think of really a time where like there was a hyped up game like geared towards those kind of interests. Like
Yeah.
normally it's just D-level trash that you just see on a shelf. Like the whole marketing of these games is, oh, it's there on the shelf at Target.
Yeah, and if there is something good, it kind of gets buried because it's not showcased. And so it was really nice to see something like that actually showcased. And
Yeah, it looked It looked cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to highlight that because I thought of the rest of the games, we were talking last week about Yaska and Assassin's Creed Shadow, and everyone's pretend like upset over the inclusion of the black samurai. And it's like,
Right.
oh, this week at Sony's State of Play, here's 3 Asian samurais. Surprise! it's it's what I was saying last week. It's like there's no shortage of representation of the male samurai who is not a black dude. There's so much of it. And it's like every time I see it now, I'm like, yeah, I mean, some of this stuff looks cool, but it's like, God, it's so overdone, and like half the goddamn showcase was this stuff. Um, I digress. Silent Hill 2. I digress. So all right. Everybody knows, I think, that's been listening to the show for a while. Kim, certainly you're aware of this. I'm a huge Silent Hill person.
Yes.
I absolutely adore the Silent Hill series. I own all of them, their original facets. I love, 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 love Silent Hill. And I've been very open-minded about Silent Hill 2 Remake, and I've been very open-minded about Bloober Team doing it. We saw a lot of Silent Hill 2 today, between the State of Play and the Silent Hill transmission. So I guess first of all, I'm curious as to your thoughts on Silent Hill 2 Remake, what you've seen. I forget if you've got a history with the original game or not.
I did. I played the original games, but not since release. So I haven't touched them in
Cool. So they're
ages.
just like a distant memory at this point.
I mean, memory is reaching.
All right, cool. Well, that's
So
actually good
for
because
me,
they're very fresh on my mind. So I'm kind of curious as to someone who, you know, it was forever and a year ago. Just kind of like what your take on it was, good or bad. Like, what does it look like to you?
it looked like a Konami game. It's like that's literally like it literally looked exactly how I was expecting. Um, I feel like I feel like it's gonna get some hate. I do. I'm still excited for it because I've been excited for it and I refuse to not be excited for it. It's basically how I feel. Um, I'm not sure. I'm also it's one of those things like hope for the best but kind of expect the worst. You know what I mean? And then when you go at it, it's like, oh, okay, cool, this was fun. That's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like the best way I could describe it. There were definitely moments as we were watching, because I streamed the State of Play. And so there were moments that we were watching when they did the Silent Hill 2 showcase. We were like, Silent Hill 2, we were all excited. And then they showed some of it, and one of my community members was like, I'm a little bit I don't want to be too excited, like especially after seeing this. So
Yeah, I've kind of got an interesting bag of emotions with this, right? Because I'm a very like in tune, still current Silent Hill player. Like I still play all the games. I've played through 3 within the last year. So like there's a few things I want to say about Silent Hill 2, like right off the bat, right off the jump. Number one is I think people have a distorted memory of what Silent Hill 1, 2, 3, and 4 were like. Those were ugly fucking games even back in the day.
yes.
Their Team Silent did not make a pretty game. They did not make any of those 4 times. And of course, they weren't part after that. They were just involved in those 4 games. Silent Hill 2 hides a lot of its graphical deficiencies behind the game mechanic of the fog, same as the first one on the original PlayStation. So there's not really a history of graphical prowess or graphical excellence to live up to.
Right.
That being said, anytime I feel like the Silent Hill 2 remake comes up, the Resident Evil remakes come up. But I do think, like, to what you were saying, is you kind of have to remember who we're talking about here again. You know, we're not talking about Capcom. Capcom is the world's best, period. Like, I don't think there's anybody that rivals Capcom in terms of the fidelity that they consistently put forth in their products and the quality that they consistently put forth. And I mean, that wasn't true 10 years ago, but that has been true the past 10 years. That they're at the top.
Well, they get better and better. Like the Resident Evil 4, that was the last one, right?
Yeah.
The last remake that they did was fucking beautiful. Like, so beautiful. It was so nice and so smooth and so well done. I don't think it's fair to compare Silent Hill 2 remake to Resident Evil 4 because, again, we're talking about Capcom.
Yeah,
And they literally put their hearts into
versus Blooper
like, they
Team.
put their souls into it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, even if you like look at the original products, which came out around the same time, you know, Silent Hill never held a candle to any of those games. I mean, even if you go back to the PS1, Silent Hill 1, and put it against any of the PS1 Resident Evil games, it didn't hold a candle to it graphically ever.
Yeah.
So I know that that's not relevant to what's happening right now in 2024. I know that there's a side of the argument that could be that any development team on the planet would have jumped at an opportunity to work on Silent Hill 2 because it's such a revered IP, it's such a revered game that Konami could have done better than Bloober Team. And I'm certainly not making apologies or being an apologist for what I saw in the showcase. My first take is like that this game is ugly looking. Like that the character models are really dated. They look late PS3, early PS4 at best. It's not impressive at all. I thought the character animations were weird. But then, you know, you think back to Silent Hill 2, and there was almost a deliberacy in those exact tenets in that game. So it might work for it, is where I'm going with this. It might not really impact it, because Silent Hill 2 was mostly about atmosphere.
Yeah.
It didn't have particularly wonderful storytelling or gameplay or, you know, it is an old tank control game. But it was eerie and empty, and the emptiness added to the eeriness. And like the whole Silent Hill series, like people that are really into it will tell you that what makes Silent Hill special is how it makes you feel. Now that's the point I want to carry on into the last thing I kind of thought about what I saw. And this was when the last trailer came out, something that was a concern. My biggest concern with this game isn't that it's ugly. It isn't that it's made by Bloober Team. It's that it doesn't look like, when they're showing the gameplay, it doesn't look like I'm watching Silent Hill. It looks like I'm watching Resident Evil 4. Every time they show gameplay, it's loaded with that over-the-shoulder, third-person action, and it's action happening. You know, it's guns firing, clubs being swung, curb stomping nurses, and all this stuff. And that was part of Silent Hill 2 back in the PS2 era, but like it's hardly what you spend the majority of your time doing in one of those games. It's more about atmosphere, exploration, and puzzle solving. So I'm very very curious. Like maybe they're just selecting those scenes because like they present well in a trailer versus doing something more atmospheric and more Silent Hillish. I don't know if anything I said helps digest this further. I just think I'm more confused after seeing this presentation. That I become more confused and less clear on what's happening. And I'm just gonna have to wait till October. Because I'm probably in the same boat as a lot of people where I'm just buying this. I am totally just buying this because it's Silent Hill 2.
I mean, I'll be getting it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
So,
Yeah.
did anything I say make sense, or was I just rambling? I don't know.
I mean, I will say, so it's interesting because as I was like, I didn't sit there and just watch the 15 minutes of gameplay. I kind of like skimmed through it, and it's funny because as I was skimming through, I had come across a lot of atmospheric parts. Just walking down the street, foggy, walking through a building, looking up at the top floor, like I had come across so much of the atmospheric aspect, and then finally at one point I clicked through and I came across, swinging at a nurse and that kind of stuff. And so for me, I feel like they're still going to focus on the atmospheric aspect of it, like in the full gameplay. But I do think they probably made a choice to show a lot of the action because, I don't know. I feel like they kind of have to appeal to that aspect of it too, because of the state of the games,
Yeah, and they do keep going to like the first 10 minutes of the game in the trailers, like the old game, where the first trailer was like the very first scene of the game where James is looking at himself in the mirror, getting ready to head into find Silent Hill. And then in this trailer, it's the graveyard scene, which is like right at the beginning of the game. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm curious to see. It looks like they're following the source content, so that's why I'm like kind of confused by what I've been seeing.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, it's like it looks like they're trying to stay really true to the original, but then on the other hand, it's like, are they trying to market it like it's a Resident Evil 4 kind of thing because it's been so long and because they're trying to attract people to this? I don't know. So
yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I mean, I'm hoping it's fun. I'm hoping it's good. And I hope it is really atmospheric because that's what I want to play it for. I love that sort of atmosphere.
Yeah, I think the game's gonna
love that
sell fucking great.
I think so too. I hope so.
And I think no matter who made the game, that it was gonna get shit on by purists.
Yeah. Yes.
So
yeah,
maybe in that sense, Bloober was a good pick for it because they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They just make games. So
they just do their thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they really don't care. They just make games. Medium was cool. It kind of had some of that same energy.
Yeah. Yep.
So, anything beyond that you wanted to touch on from the state of play?
Yeah, I was very excited about two other games. Monster Hunter Wilds. I love the Monster Hunter games. I played through all of Monster Hunter World, and I played through all of Rise. And I'm super duper excited for Wilds because they've added some like new mechanics to it. Like now there's mounted fighting, and of course they didn't show the glaive though. I'm an insect glaive main, and they never show the glaive in trailers ever. So I'm so curious to see what they did to the glaive this time around. But I am extremely excited for Wilds. I don't know if you've ever played any of the Monster Hunter games.
Full admission, one of my most glaring blind spots in gaming is the Monster Hunter series.
Oh,
it's a
man,
total blind spot for me. Every time I look at them, I'm like, that looks cool. That looks like something I'd probably enjoy. But there's like a big, I don't know if intimidation is the right word for it. Like
that
it kind of has that same energy
right
that like Dark Souls has, where it's like, you're getting into some shit if you get into this game, and that they have steep learning curves and things like that. So I've never touched one. I have thought about playing Monster Hunter World, like, and that's where I would start if I want to get into it.
Yeah, that's a good start. It's a really great game. I love the Monster Hunter series, and it is a steep learning curve, especially depending on what weapon you pick. Like I said, I play the glaive, and it definitely has a learning curve. You have to know where to hit monsters in order to get your buffs, and you have to know how to stay in the air. And it's definitely a big learning curve, but it's honestly the Monster Hunter games are probably, I find them super relaxing. Some people think I'm crazy for saying that, but I find them really, really relaxing, just going out and farming for materials to build the armor that you want or the glaive that you want. And some of the monsters are simply stunning, like so beautiful. And others are wild. Like one of my favorite look wise is Namael. She's like this sea creature, and she's like black and tarry and flowy, and she's absolutely beautiful. And then, but one of my favorite monsters, just because he's wild and out of control, and the music is so good, is Rajang. And I know anybody listening to this who plays Monster Hunter, if they're gonna literally think I'm insane for saying that I love fighting Rajang. People hate fighting him. He's one of my favorite fights, and I know that's insane. And he's really tough on the glaive because he's not gigantic like the rest of the monsters, and so he's a little bit tough to hit on the glaive. But I highly recommend just giving it a shot. And if you ever wanted to go in, like if you ever want to go in with like Pike plays and Curbs plays and Scarl plays, if you ever want to come in and like, hey guys, I want to try Worlds, can you guys pop in and just show me some stuff? Like, we're always down. I will always pop into Monster Hunter. Yeah, it's very, very fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna later here in the show talk about some things that keep pushing back my back catalog.
Yes.
Which Monster Hunter is definitely part of. So Monster Hunter, any others?
Yes. So my very first game I ever streamed was Outlast, right? Years and years ago. My second game I ever streamed, I had no camera. I played it on the PlayStation. The sound was terrible. Was Until Dawn. And nice. The remake is coming out. And that game, first of all, I love the Supermassive games. I love the Dark Pictures anthologies. I love that whole series of games. And so for them to be coming out with a remake of Until Dawn, I am unbelievably excited. And the best part is, because of my memory issues, it's fantastic, because somebody today was like, I mean, if you played through it, is there really anything to like, you've already played through it. And I'm like, I don't remember a damn thing. All I remember is being really scared. And all I remember is one scene being so scared that I jumped up and the controller knocked my glasses directly off my face. So I am so excited for this game. And plus Rami Malek. I love Rami Malek. So,
Rami's great in that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that one is probably, out of all the games showcased, quote unquote, all the games, 10 of them, Until Dawn is probably the one that I am most excited for. And I'm really excited that it's coming to PC so that more people can experience it.
Yeah, when I unloaded my physical collection for PS4 and PS5, that game obviously went with it. Although I think I own it, the original, digitally on PlayStation, because I think they did like PS Plus with it for a month or something. Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to revisiting it. I am a little surprised, and I don't know if you feel this way too. Like the game doesn't feel like it was that long ago to me, but I guess it's been close to 10 years.
It doesn't. I mean, you figure I started streaming 8 years ago.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's been quite 10 years, but like kind of close to it.
It doesn't feel as long as it has been. I'll tell you that.
Like when that game come out, like 2015 or 2016, something like that.
I have no idea. I have no clue. 2015. Yeah.
So I know it was like after Destiny 2014. So yeah, I am surprised that it's already getting a remake, especially when we've kind of been sitting, twiddling our thumbs, waiting for the next Dark Pictures anthology game. But to my understanding, this isn't even being done by Supermassive.
It is. So it is. It's just being ported by a different studio, but it's still Supermassive.
Got it. Yeah, I know Supermassive owns that IP. I didn't know that they were actually doing the remake themselves.
I'm pretty sure. And then just a studio called Ballistic Moon is going to be porting
it to PC.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, but we are going to be getting another, Supermassive and the Dark Pictures anthologies are two separate groups.
Right.
same team, but two separate groups. And so they are still working on the next Dark Picture anthology is supposed to be in space.
Yeah, it's just they were on that annual release, which was really nice, but it's been like what 2-3 years now since the last one.
Well, I'm curious to see if anything happens because usually they come out in October.
Usually, but
so
yeah, it was like
yeah.
last October we didn't get one. The one before that we did.
When was the last one we got? The last one we got was what game? Was it the one about H.H. Holmes?
It's the only one I haven't played yet. The one that came after House of Ash. Dark Pictures.
So that's H.H. Holmes.
Because we got The Quarry, and obviously that's not part of the Dark Pictures anthology. Right. Devil and Me.
Yes, that's the H.H. Holmes one. Yeah.
Yeah, which I have but have not played yet.
So good. Oh my god, it was so good.
So
many unfortunate deaths.
Yeah, I love the whole series. It's really fun to play.
Yeah. When did that come out?
I think it was 3 years ago, Kim. I think it's been 3 years since we've had the last one. Yeah. Devil and Me, 2 years, 2022.
Okay, 2 years, November 2022.
Yeah, so
I'm curious to see if they come out with one this year. Then.
Yeah, I hope so. I miss the
me too.
release thing. Just every October, you're like, I know I'm getting one.
Yeah,
and I know Devil and Me didn't come out in October; it came out later, which is
November.
Which is why I haven't played it because I wasn't in the Halloween mood anymore. I was like, it's Thanksgiving time. So
yeah, it was good. It was probably my favorite one of the Dark Pictures. Probably my favorite one. But I'm also a little bit obsessed with serial killers. So
yeah, no, that's cool. I really liked House of Ash. Like I really
it was great.
The whole setting in Iraq was
really cool.
So cool. So yeah, no,
there was something there was something different I loved about it, but I don't want to give any spoilers.
Yeah, fair enough.
It was fantastic.
Those games, not worth talking about because spoiling is bad. Spoiling bad.
But yeah,
because they all go off the track so hard.
They do. But yeah, that was it. That's State of Play was okay, but those are the 3 things I was excited for: Silent Hill 2, Until Dawn, Monster Hunter Wilds. Everything else I was like, okay.
Yeah, there was a lot of just things that I'm sure will be forgotten very quickly. Yeah. I guess the Astrobot doesn't sell super well, but they're really cool games, so it is kind of cool that they're going back to it. The Alien VR game.
That looked kind of cool. If I had VR, I'd be into that.
It's cool, but it's like, you got to buy that fucking $600 headset to go on top of your $500 console, and it's like,
yeah,
I'm not doing that.
No.
Not in a million years. So. Very good. Let's move on from the State of Play and talk about the games we've been playing this week.
Yes.
Kim, we're going to start with you. What have you been playing this week?
Okay. So obviously I dove back into Skull and Bones, brand new season, and they made so many changes, so many good changes. It's been really refreshing to get back in. It's been fun having people come in and flood the server again. And it's been fun. We've been having a good time with it. Although today I started streaming it today and I was like, you know what? I could really go for some chaos. And so I switched over to Dead by Daylight. My brain was feeling like gremlin energy, and Skull and Bones is like, even like the PvPing and stuff like that it's, it doesn't fulfill my gremlin energy needs at times. So, yeah, but Skull and Bones I'm really happy with what they've done and the changes they've made. And they're still working on things because they realize they kind of overtuned some things, they undertuned some things, and they're putting a lot of work into it. And it's really nice to see. Yeah. Good.
So like, what did they add? I haven't really been following it.
It's so hard to explain. I'll try and make it as quick as possible. So one of the big problems with Skull and Bones Season 1 is that once you bought your manufactories, right? So you go in, the whole thing is there's a leaderboard with pieces of 8, and you get pieces of 8 by opening manufactories and manufacturing gin and snuff and whatever, right? So once you buy these once you buy these manufactories, that's it. Then you have to go, and sometimes it would take so long to sail around and you have to manually pick up all the pieces of 8 from your manufactories all over the map, right? And it was really a pain in the ass. And it was like, sometimes you go in and it's like, well, I'm not going to really play today. I'm just going to go grab my pieces of 8 because it takes so long. So, and the other problem that I kept saying was once you get the best boat, which is the brig, there was no reason to get there was no reason to use any of the other ships, no reason to build any other ships. That's it. You have your brig, you get the best weapons, and you're done. So what they did was they made it now where you get helm leases, which you lease manufactories with. And now you can assign ships to those manufactories. So you have a fleet. So you can build ships, you can upgrade your ships now, and you can send those ships to go to that manufactory to defend it and to also automatically get your pieces of 8 to you.
Okay.
So your manufactories can be attacked now. And if they get attacked and take a lot of damage, then they shut down until repairs are done. So there's that aspect. And so, because one of the other things was like all over the map, there's materials. You have acacia wood, you have roselle cloth, you have iron ingot, you have all these things around the map, but you weren't doing anything with them because once you build your ship and you have your brig and your weapons, you're done. So now you do have to go out and you have to farm materials because you have to upgrade your ships and make new ships and all that kind of stuff. So they did a lot to keep people like now there's like stuff to do, now you can like build up a fleet, which is good because before there was quite literally nothing to do once you got done with the pass and once you built the best ship and had the best weapons, there was literally nothing to do. So
that
they made it where
basically
there's stuff to do, which is good.
the end game.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, that's super important for a game like this is keeping people engaged until the next thing drops. So, okay, cool.
Yeah, and that was the problem. So they didn't keep anybody engaged with the first season. And it's tough now because a lot of people are like, well, I'm done. I'm not going back. So like a few of us who really love the game are trying to get it out there that like, no, like they really did good and we're really having a good time now. We're going and doing plunders together because we need to do plunders now. It's not just something that like, oh, let's go plunder because there's nothing else to do. Like now you need to. And so it's been a lot of fun getting back.
Yeah, the game's like super on sale right now. It's like close
and
to
there's a free
off.
week right now too. There's a free week from May 30th till June 6th. There's a free week. So you can go in and play it and see if you like it. Which is
and I
great.
think the discount for it on PlayStation is running through the 12th. So,
okay.
Yeah, anyone listening to this, you have a chance to buy it and check it out at a cheap and/or free rate. So, very good.
Yeah. I've been playing Dead by Daylight. Got back into that, and it's goofy and ridiculous and fun, and we laugh and we're crazy, and that's my gremlin energy, which is fantastic. I've been playing a lot of V Rising because that is my super chill building game. Holding me over till Once Human comes out.
Right.
V Rising is really nice and it's beautiful. It's a gorgeous looking game. If anybody listening hasn't really taken a look at it, you need to. It's honestly just beautiful. Like the scenery is gorgeous and the graphics are stunning and it runs really smooth. And it's a cool concept of a game if you like building. If you don't like building, well, don't play V Rising. So, the Rogue Prince of Persia came out, and that game is glorious. It has the best soundtrack. I am so curious to see if throughout the rest of the year another game comes out with a soundtrack I love as much as the Rogue Prince of Persia.
So
I can't get over it.
Fill me in here. Like, is this Prince of Persia? Like Ubisoft Prince of Persia? That just had a Metroidvania style game come out earlier in the year, and like
this one is a cell shaded 2D beautiful hack and slash gorgeous game. It's just beautiful. It is so smooth.
Is it a Vania? Is it a roguelike?
It's a Souls-like. Sorry, roguelike. Wow. Sorry, I have a Souls-like game in my head that I've been thinking about all week.
Yeah, no worries.
It's a roguelike.
Okay.
Roguelite, technically. It's a roguelite.
Sure.
So it's very different because it's literally like you go in and you go to these different areas and you might discover a different area. And so you discover a different area and then you can go there and you go through and then you get to the mini boss And if the mini boss kills you, you start back at the beginning. But in the meantime, you've collected this form of money that the Huns have come up with, and you can use that to forge new weapons. And throughout the run, it's all RNG based, and so you'll come across. It's very much like the weapon system is a lot like Hades, where you'll come across like 3 different weapons, and it's like, which weapon do I want to use? Right?
I just put it together. The Rogue Prince of Persia.
The Rogue Prince of Persia.
Got it. I'm there.
Yeah. And so it's roguelite, and it's super fun. Like, I really love it, and I cannot get over the damn soundtrack. It's just so good. And they did a great job with it. The devs are absolutely amazing, and like, they genuinely listen to the community, and the Discord is fantastic because you literally report a bug and they're like, okay, we're on it. Like, they are all over. It's made by Evil Empire, and they are all over this game. And it is $20, which is a steal. And it's fun and beautiful. And the combat is so smooth. And I highly, highly recommend if you're into roguelite games. If you hate roguelite games, you're going to hate the game because you do start over with your base weapons.
Cool. So yeah, it's are they not the same people that made Dead Cells?
I think they have people who made Dead Cells on the team. It was something like that. There's a tie-in to Dead Cells somewhere, but I can't remember.
I mean, even just gameplay wise, now that I'm putting the whole thing together, I'm like that meme of the guy with the math problem above his head, where
yes,
because I've kind of glanced at you playing it on stream when I'm at work, and I can't really pay that much attention to what's going on. But yeah, so I'm putting it all together now. I'm like, oh, okay, so it's like Dead Cells, but then the name just I don't know. I'm like, don't they have a connection?
Oh yeah, yeah. So if you look on the evilempirestudio.com, yeah, Dead Cells.
Yeah, okay, I thought so.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, great. Got it. I mean, that's one of the best 2D side-scrolling roguelites of all time. So them with Prince of Persia.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Like, I'm telling you, it is, I feel like it's so overlooked. I feel like not enough people know about it. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's off. The gameplay is so fun.
It's off my radar, I guess, because I'm assuming it's not on PlayStation at all, which that's the main place where I do stuff. It looks like it's maybe just on PC. Yeah. Yeah, it's just on PC, at least for right now.
Okay. Oh yeah, I think I had said something about in the Discord. Something about. I'm pretty sure it's going to be released on other platforms.
Yeah, no, I would expect so with something like this. So yeah, maybe once it gets there, I'll check it out. That seems cool. Got it.
Yeah, highly recommend. Yep. I played a really, really cool. If you're into Civ builders, I played a game called Imagine Earth by Serious Brothers. Really cool game. The graphics were really nice. You're literally building up a planet, and you're putting civilization on the planet, and you get once you get that area going, you can take over a different part of the planet. And it was just like a really chill civilization management game, and it was beautiful, and it was really relaxing. I definitely, if you're into Civ builders, I would definitely check out Imagine Earth. I know that's like a genre that like certain people are into it, and some people are like, God, I fucking hate Civ management. But I like Civ management, and so for me, that was like a nice, chill, relaxing game.
When I get into those kind of games, I go hard in the fucking paint. Like I'll blink and 40 hours of my life is gone. Yep.
Yeah. So it's a good one. It's a pretty game. Like the graphics are really pretty, and it's really nice, and it's like easy to understand, and it's pretty cool. Pretty cool game. I was very impressed. I played another game. I actually played it today. I played Boxes Lost Fragments by Big Loop Studios. Another little indie game. I don't know if you've ever played the room games where you have to like solve the puzzles on the box. It's like that. You're solving puzzles, and it's really beautiful. And I literally didn't want to stop playing, but I also wanted to watch State of Play with everybody. So I'm going to be playing System Shock, the new System Shock, but I might end up playing part of the day. I might end up playing some more of this Boxes game because it was so good. The graphics are really beautiful, and the puzzles are enough to make you think, but not enough to make you want to stick a fork in your eye. So,
not to completely
Yep.
derail things. Have you played through
Yep.
System Shock before?
No. Why?
So you know that I'm really good at understanding and knowing your taste in games. You are going to
Yes.
fucking hate that game.
All right, but let me explain to you why I'm playing it. So hold on,
Was
guys.
it in
We'll
the
get back to
fishbowl?
the games I
Was
played.
it in
Hold
the
on.
fishbowl?
It was not in the fishbowl. It was published by PlayOn, and I am a Deep Silver creator, which is part of PlayOn. And
It's an
so
all-time great.
System Shock is one of the new system. The remake is one of the games that they had offered, and I was like, all right, well, let me play it because I really love Deep Silver. You know, I love representing them, and so I'm going to give System Shock.
So here's what's
shot.
going to happen.
Oh boy.
The first hour and a half, 2 hours, you're playing it.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, I don't know what Mike's talking about. I fucking love this game. This game is so good. And then something magical and bizarre is going to happen at like the 120-minute mark where you're like torn between if you should like the game or if you feel like it's punishing you and trying to make you never play it again.
Okay.
And you're going to end up
Okay.
You're going to end up
Okay.
walking away from it going, Mike read this perfectly.
I'm excited to see what that is.
Yeah,
now.
I consider System Shock to be one of the most annoying video games of all time.
Did you play the new one?
No, I need to play the new one.
Okay.
But I've heard that the new one is
I'm
faithful
curious.
to the original that it carries the same energy.
All right. I'm really curious. The good news is
I'm super curious, and Johnny, who I'm sure will listen to this episode later and hear this, he's gonna know exactly what I'm talking about because he's a huge System Shock fan. And yeah, I'm curious to see if I've got a correct take here. So all right,
well, we'll find out tomorrow. The good news is I didn't pull it from the bowl, so I could always be like, I covered it. Not for me. Thank you, Deep Silver. I love you. But
again, it's an all-time great game, and there couldn't be a game that's more not a Kim game that I could ever name.
That's so weird because there are so many. I play so many genres, so I'm like so curious.
It's not BioShock.
I mean, I didn't think it was going to be
Kim
BioShock.
Levine. I mean, this is the game that eventually turned into what is BioShock.
Yeah,
but it's not.
Yeah, it didn't strike me like everything I see.
It's gonna play just like BioShock. Gun in one hand, powers in the other. Like you're gonna feel that, and like I said, when you first get in there, you're gonna be like, "Fuck yeah!"
And then I'm gonna want to bang my head against the wall.
It'll come.
Okay.
So I'm curious to see if I've got an accurate take or not. Anyway.
Yeah, me too. But anyway, so we digressed. Boxes, if you're into puzzle games, Boxes Lost Fragments. And let me see. It is a beautiful little game. It came out when did it come out? It came out February of this year, and it's $15. I don't know how long it is. I just started it today. I played it for an hour. But I really, really want to play more because I really enjoyed it.
I guess worth mentioning is that game's also on mobile, and it looks like a perfect. Yeah.
Boxes? Oh,
yeah,
it's so good.
It's on Google
I was
Play
very
and the
impressed.
App Store, and it's rated 4.8 out of 5.
It's super smooth. It's like, oh, what a good game. I'm very excited to play more of it. My final game, I put this as my final game because I played the demo. When I tell you I can't wait to get the full game, I can't wait to get the full game. I played the demo, and the demo's available right now. I played a demo of Vampire Therapist. So hold on.
I was watching.
Little Bat Games. I can't say enough about this game. The humor is absolutely amazing. coupled with some kink. You got some kink thrown in because obviously we're talking about vampires and they're in a vampire club, but there's a therapist in the top floor who treats vampires. And so you're treating vampires with these like issues that they've harbored for centuries and they're looking for somebody to solve their problems. This game was so fun and I cannot wait for the full release. Let me see when the full release comes out. I'm definitely going to be playing it when the full release comes out because I could not get enough of it. I did not want the demo to end. I was like, no. It comes out on July 18th. I can't recommend this game enough. It was so fun. And the crazy thing about it, therapy wise, it was so spot on with so many things. I have a friend who told me that night they couldn't watch because they were feeling called out and it was making them think too deeply. And it really does. Like there were things that I was like, oh my God, I do that. Like one of the things was like should syndrome, right? I should be here in life. I should have this. I should have that. This is where I should be and I'm not. And so I'm miserable and I'm sad about it. And I was like, oh my God, I beat myself all the time because I'm like, I should this and I should that and I should this. And in the game, they're like, well, who says? Like, whose should is that? Like, why is that a should? Who imparted that upon you? And it's like, stop it. Stop calling me out. And there were so many things like that, control fallacy, and like, oh my God, it was Vampire Therapist is probably going to be one of my favorite games this year. And I can't wait for it to come out. And Little Bat Games is wonderful. They responded to me. They're so excited that I played the demo. And I'm pretty sure I'm actually going to be on the Steam page during Steam Next Fest. I'm going to be playing the game on there because I sent the VOD over. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be a replay of my playthrough of the demo on the Vampire Therapist page during Steam Next Fest. Highly recommend it if you're into like visual novel type stuff, but it's deep. Like you're going to get called out. And the kink is hysterical. The kink is so funny. Like at one point, your character, he's like this Western dude from the 1800s. He's a vampire from the 1800 Western world, right? And he was like, he said something about pegging. And he said it to these two humans who are into vampires. And he was like, blah, 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 pegging. But he meant like hitting it on the nose. Like, you got it right. And she goes, oh, is that what we're doing now? It is such a good game. And I'm so excited for it. Everybody, if you're into like really ridiculously, like just, it's fun. It is fun, but deep. I highly recommend Vampire Therapist. It comes out July 18th, but you can download a demo of it. And the demo was pretty long. I think the demo took me, oh my God, the demo took me maybe 2 hours, I think.
Wow.
Let me see. And that was like me going through the game, like, yeah, 2 hours. And I wasn't sitting there like lollygagging. I was like playing the game because it was so interesting. It took me like, it's like a good 2 hour demo.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been playing some games this week myself.
Yeah, you have.
Where to start? Let's start with Animal Well. Okay. I don't know if you might be familiar with Animal Well because
we talked about this last week.
Yeah, I kind of poked at it a little bit. But I've spent a lot of time in the game now. I think about 3 hours, which I believe it's about a 6-hour long game. This game's fucking nuts. Okay, it starts really slow with no direction, but as you build momentum in this game's going to tell you nothingness, and you start getting new items and things to interact with in the world, and you start unlocking more of the map and start kind of putting together what you're supposed to be doing. This game's kind of incredible. It's really deep. There is like a seemingly infinite amount of secrets buried in this game. It's cool. Like the art direction's great. The gameplay's really solid. I'm really enjoying Animal Well and kind of starting to see what a lot of the hype is around it. Would strongly recommend just bumbling around until you figure out what's going on, because like the whole thing with the game are these aha moments. And I don't want to talk about them because, like, just some of the basic mechanics of the game. I hate to draw a comparison to a game that I dogged the absolute living fuck out of.
Hey,
But like Tunic sort of had that same energy where
I never played
it
Tunic.
never told you anything what to do. There's a game manual in Tunic that you discover slowly, but it's written in an abstract language that they created for the game, so it tells you fucking nothing.
I know that game. I remember you saying that game was not one of your
Yeah.
favorites.
So it's kind of weird that I'm liking this. Okay. And yeah, I don't want to talk about it because, like, even just talking about basic gameplay mechanics, discovering basic gameplay mechanics are like these aha moments in this game. So I just want to say that I'm playing it. I'm really enjoying it. It's very good. It is a non-combat Metroidvania. It is a puzzle solver in the guise of Metroidvania. So it's a lot of fun. It's not super long. And every time you will feel really smart, like at least once every 20 minutes when you accidentally figure something out. That's awesome. One thing that I will disclose about the game is
Yeah.
you
I'm looking to see how long
you
it
will
is.
die a lot in the game. I got a trophy for being crushed by a chinchilla, which I'm very proud of.
That's amazing.
I had death by a friendly chinchilla. It
That's
accidentally killed me, and it was very adorable. That's all I want to say about Animal Well, because I don't want to be the guy that fucking ruins something cool about that game.
Yes.
I've gone back to Dave the Diver. I'm like kind of flirting with the idea of I'm like, do I want to platinum this game? Do I want to put that kind of time into it? Because I really enjoyed the game. And they just released the new Godzilla DLC for it. So I'm like, all right, let me just fire it back up. Do a couple of like the low-hanging trophies that I haven't gotten for the game yet. And see what happens. So I'm still kind of playing with the idea. I'm like, maybe that's how I interact with it. Maybe I just play it for like a couple hours a week here and there and just try and work towards one of them every night and maybe go check out this Godzilla thing. So just wanted really to mention it for the Godzilla DLC that came out that's free. So if you have the game, you enjoyed it, you ran out of stuff to do, there's more stuff to do now. And it's Godzilla. So what could be better?
Who doesn't love Godzilla?
All right, now it's time to get into the meat and potatoes. I have for years now been complaining that I couldn't find time to play Death Stranding. And I have finally just said, this is what I'm doing. I am playing Death Stranding. Which is like, it's such an off-putting game from the outside looking in that it's hard to get excited about, because you're like, you just know from everything that it's all about being weird.
That's probably why it's not off-putting to me. Like, to me, it's always been very intriguing, and it's been on my list forever. It's in my bowl, actually.
Me too. Same reasons. So, you know what I was saying about System Shock earlier? I think Death Stranding would be one of your all-time favorite games if you make the time to play it.
You are not the first person to say that.
It is so good. So I'm about a quarter of the way through the game already. Just after playing it for a few nights. I'm just pouring time into this game. It's so good. Like, everything about it is really cool. I know that like it kind of wore this badge of being called a walking simulator, which is like not what a walking simulator is. To me, like, walking simulator, which was a word, like a genre creation designed to be derogatory, but it's supposed to be for narrative adventure games like Life is Strange, Heavy Rain, things of that nature. This isn't that at all. I mean, this game is so interesting and so unique that traversal is part of the challenge. It's a huge part of this game, is just figuring out how to walk through difficult terrain, how to avoid fucking terrifying ass BTs. But there's stealth combat. There's a lot of combat in this game.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
And it's good because it's Kojima, who, might know a thing or two about stealth combat, being the Metal Gear guy, the guy that did that from the start. So like it's outstanding. The delivery of the story is really good. The characters are just so cool. The different locations you go to, it's amazing. It's really fun to play. You want to talk about great music and just great moments, just all over the place. It's tough because like it's a simple game. It's a simple concept.
Yeah.
But it's one like you really just have to sit down, and I think anyone that's curious about it, you sit down, play it for 2 hours, and just the hooks will be in 100%.
I have a very important question for you. When Norman Reedus is sitting in the bay, like sitting on the table bed thing, whatever it is, have you stared at his dick?
Oh, so I haven't, but I've seen what happens.
Have to.
Yeah.
You have to. It's like a necessary thing you have to do.
Yeah.
I was watching a friend play and I had them do it and they literally had tears coming out of their eyes. Yeah.
The game's so cool. I love Guillermo del Toro in this game. And like
I just love him in general. I didn't know he was in the game, but I love Guillermo del Toro. He's one of my favorite
constantly interface with.
Oh. Okay, cool.
Constantly. He's always in your ear.
Awesome.
So it's just outrageously good. I'm surprised that I mean it's definitely acclaimed to a degree, but I don't think to nearly a strong enough degree that it should be. So really happy I'm playing it. Can't wait to talk about it some more. I'm curious to see how long it'll take me to clear, because I when I get this hooked on a game, I usually clear it really fast. The final game I have to talk about this week.
Oh, yes.
Is a little game called Indika.
Yes.
So you'll be happy to know I've completed Indika, and I have not only completed it, I have also garnered the platinum trophy for the game. I beat the absolute living pants off this thing. And I want to talk about it a little bit.
Yes. A little bit? We're going to talk about a lot of it.
I want to talk about it a little bit. So I want to preface this in saying that I knew nothing. I was really interested in playing this game from the moment I saw the first trailer, but I knew nothing about it beyond that trailer going in. And even revealing the tone of this game could be a spoiler. So I just kind of want to put out there before we start talking about it, because I do kind of want to actually talk about the game itself. But I do want to put out there that if you really don't want to know anything about this game, then now's probably the time to check out. I know this isn't like the world's most popular game or anything by that stretch, but hey, if this is one that you want to check out fresh, you've seen the trailer and you think you're going to sit down and play a creepy nun game, and that's kind of where your mind's at, you might want to check out now. So
we love you, but you should go.
5, 4, I'm really not kidding, 3, 2, this is your last chance once.
Bye. See you later.
And if you're still with us, cool. You're going to learn some things about the game that you definitely didn't know ahead of time. And it won't ruin your experience with the game at all, because like the joy of this game really does come from playing it and experiencing it.
Yes, I agree.
This game caught me off guard within the first 5 minutes that it is an unabashed, complete satirical dark comedy.
Yes.
And it did not come off like that in the trailers at all. And it's not just like kind of funny, a little. No, it is a complete shit show comedy about nuns, about the church, about Christianity, I couldn't believe that that's what it was. And as soon the second uh, you get to a scene very early in the game, as it's kind of revealing to you that it's a comedy, and Indika is getting ready to take communion.
This is my favorite scene. I fucking love it so much. I have a TikTok of this scene.
Indika's getting ready to take communion, and this absolutely bizarre music starts playing. And this is where you realize that Indika isn't quite right in the head.
Can I tell you? This scene on TikTok, I have over 48,000 views on this short because it's so fucking out there. It is so out there.
Yeah, and she just starts seeing shit.
She's batshit
She's
crazy.
totally insane. And everyone around her knows that she's insane. And like that's kind of the premise for the game, is that these nuns all look at her, they all know that she's crazy. And they want her.
She doesn't know she's crazy.
She has no idea. And they all want her gone so bad.
Yes.
So they hand her a letter and say, you need to go deliver this. And like, it's immediately evident to me that she doesn't understand that they just handed her this letter to get her gone, to get her out into the world so they don't have to deal with her anymore. But she's delusional and thinks like she's been selected to do this important thing, and like they know that she's not going to want to read the letter. And off.
Yeah, they were like, don't read it.
And off you go. You as crazy little Indika out into the snow.
And she's such a people pleaser that she doesn't read it because she's like, she's a people pleaser. She wants people to like her. You know, she knows that people don't like her. And she wants people to like her, but she doesn't know that she's fucking crazy.
So the next like cool thing is how she's crazy. She's crazy because she's possessed by Satan. But Satan is a comical, logical, dry, witty asshole.
Yes, 100%. What a great character.
And he's lovable. He's everything he says makes so much sense. He's so logical in how he presents the things he's saying to Indika, that it's hard for her to ignore anything that he says because it just makes such clear sense. Everything that he says to her. You know, this isn't the Satan who's telling you to do mean and terrible things in the name of Satan, in the name of hell. No, this is the one who's calling bullshit on things in the religion. You know, why is this a sin? Why is this bad? What is bad? Can bad exist without there being good? You know, he poses all these not not
logical
theological
questions,
but logical things that you know, upon a moment's thought, unless you were an absurd and stupid being, you couldn't possibly disagree with. And I love that as being the representation of the devil, not in the actual like contextual sense, but in the sense that this is the devil whose whole purpose is to punch holes in the bullshit of the church. The things that even if you are Christian, you're like, I know that this is stupid. You know, and there's tons of things like that, but I won't get into it because I don't want to poo-poo anybody's feelings if you happen to be somebody
Yeah,
that
yeah.
thinks transubstantiation actually happens. I mean, God rest your soul, but it doesn't. I'm sorry. Did I mention I was raised Baptist? I can't help it. I can't help it. Can't help myself. You ask any Catholic, and they're like, "Got it."
Yeah.
Wink. You know.
Yeah.
But that's the level that it's catering to. It's like the things that you know are bullshit. I know every Catholic on the planet understands that when the bell dings, the bread doesn't actually turn into the body of a dead human. They know that, but you go along with it because it's the religion. So, you know, whenever Indika is like pressed about being a nun and having these thoughts of, well, I can't sin, this is a sin, the devil will pop in and be like, what makes that a sin? Is it really? Is it bad?
What is sin?
Yeah, he just,
Yep.
so like that's who the devil is in this game, and it's really cool. And like one of my favorite scenes with him is when she's faced with the decision of having to amputate someone who doesn't want to be amputated because they believe they're on a holy mission and God's going to make them whole. But so she's in this conflict where she knows that if she doesn't amputate him, this dude's dead. He's going to die from sepsis. And so she does it, and the whole dialogue that happens afterwards, where you know she feels bad because she's really upset this guy, but the devil's like, "You just saved his life." But he was talking to God, and it was God's plan to make him whole again, and I interjected. Who am I to do that against God? And the devil's like, if you didn't do it, he'd be dead. You know that.
Yes. Yeah. The devil's literally her
So
subconscious.
I thought this game was really cool. And then something happened that completely caught me off guard. Kind of the last 75% of the game. Do you remember the scene where you're in a tower, you have to jump through a little window and fall down into the next room, but then you kind of are revealed that you're in this weird cycle of rooms that are turning over in mirror images of themselves?
Yes.
And I just kind of happened to randomly catch out of the corner of my eye a creature that was moving with my movements. And it was the fucking devil. And I didn't notice.
Oh, I just got goosebumps.
I didn't notice
it was
at any
such a
point
great scene. It was so good.
There was actually a character fucking chasing me around in the reflection. And like you could totally miss it if you didn't happen to catch like the right angle that this is happening. Blew me away.
So I caught it immediately. And my reaction, it's another clip I have on TikTok, because my immediate reaction, I was like, what was that? Was that him? Like, I thought it was the guy that we were traveling with, right? Well, I can't remember his name, like Ilse or something like that. Right, I can't remember. So I was like, what is that? And so I moved my character to get a better look at what it was. And I was like, wait, it's moving with me. And my reaction, literally, I was like, oh, it's my demon. That was, it blew, I was like, I am looking at my demon. And then to figure out that puzzle on how to get your demon to go a certain, oh my God, it was so good, because you're literally looking at your demon, the demon, the devil that's with you and talking you through everything and helping you to think logically is right there, and you're looking at him, and it was astounding.
Yeah, Ilya.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
That to me was the coolest part of the game. Like, but there's like other just there's so much crazy shit happening in this game.
Game was
and like
absolutely
the further
insane. That
the
game
further
was wild.
you play into it, like the weirder and wilder shit starts happening where you're like, I'm losing my fucking mind. I just picked up an entire bridge with a crane and threw it in a different
Yep.
spot. Like,
Yeah.
the further you go, the more crazy the game becomes. So, Kim, I'm really curious now that you can talk openly to me about it. What are some things
Yeah.
you have to share from it?
So one of the things that hit me really hard was throughout the whole thing was the premise of, so she was in this convent and was obviously there at a very young age, she reveals. She went there at a young age. And so Ilya says, "Oh, so it was your choice to go." And she said, "Well, is it really your decision if you don't have a choice?" So she was made, she had no choice but to go to that convent. And so then as you're watching the pixel parts of the game, because there are pixel parts to this game, and that gameplay is her past. My theory is that she was put there because she was pregnant. She met this boy who stole her
Yep.
bike, and they ended up sleeping together. And then something tragic happens. And they never really reveal it, but it was definitely sort of hinted at. And I love that they didn't make that her whole story. I love that it was more of like, well, this is where I had to go, you know? And so I think it was a combination of that and the fact that I think that may have been the thing that kind of caused her to kind of lose it, was the fact that her first love, something very, very tragic happens to, which I don't know. Should I reveal that part?
No,
I
you don't
don't
have
want
to.
to, but
I know what you're talking about.
so yeah, something really tragic happens to him, and from that point on, she kind of goes to the convent. So I love that it throws you back into her past, and you get to play this totally different type of game when you're in her past. And then on top of it, you're watching her go through this whole conflict of, do we really have choices? Like if we don't have a choice to do things and we have to do something, are we really making decisions? And I thought that was really profound, because when you don't have a choice, when you feel like you have no choice, are you really making a decision? Or are you doing something because you feel like you have no choice? But then you kid yourself into saying that it's a decision you made. And I thought that was really, really cool. I thought it was pretty amazing. And I really liked how the whole time the devil was pressing her toward the idea of, there aren't, you are your guide. Like, you make things happen. And Ilya is foolish in thinking that a relic is going to save his arm. You saved him, not some relic, not some ridiculous, religion. That's not what saved Ilya. It's you. You saved Ilya. And so just the whole concept behind this game of belief in yourself, making your own choices, realizing when that you really do have a choice, when you feel like you don't have a choice. God, it was just so good. And I think we have very different ideas as to the ending.
Yeah, what I thought was cool with the ending, um, but besides the whole resolution of the devil or the demon or whatever, is where it takes place. Did did you catch that? That it was her lover's father's shop that the final scene of that
Yes.
game takes place in? Like, that was so cool because you'd only seen these places in the pixel cut of the game. And as you're hearing Ilya talk about the town and the tavern and then seeing the flashbacks, you go, oh, wait, we're there. We're like
Yep.
for real there. And, Indika's fucking nuts and doesn't seem to even be phased or acknowledge that that's where they're at. She's so obsessed with this religious crusade that she's on to try and cure her problem with religion, with the what's the thing called, the Kivyets, or uh it begins with a K. I forget. I'll look it up.
I don't know, but it was it's a
Yeah.
reliquary. Yeah, but I can't remember what it was called. That was the thing that he was kissing trying to
Yep.
cure himself. And it didn't work. Obviously, kissing an object is not going to bring your. I mean, if you would see his arm, oh my goodness, like that arm is not coming back. And like it was withered and gray. And she talked about the smell of it a few times. Like, oh, it was disgusting. It was
Oh, the
disgusting.
coudettes.
Coudettes. That's right.
Yeah, the little
right.
pyramid-shaped artifact.
Yes.
Man, things just go so off the fucking rails, and it's always like just this dark comedy, like where the priest gets fucking killed while they're just trying to run through.
Absolutely fucking crazy.
The game's just so bonkers. And I'd say that we've probably said enough to get someone interested in it that thought this is just a weird, sad walking simulator game. To say, if you're still with us and you haven't played it, I don't want to completely ruin the game for you. We haven't in any way, shape, or form. Like, you should go play this game, though. If you weren't expecting it to be a knee slapper comedy, that is just like
bizarre.
It is just like
out there.
Fight Club level dark humor, like through and through. I really had a great time with it. So it captured me immediately from the first time I saw a trailer for it, but it totally set me up with all the wrong expectations. I super enjoyed it.
It did a very, very good job.
I super enjoyed it. So, Kim, where did you play the game? Was it on PC, like through Steam or
PC? Yeah, through Steam.
Did you for Steam? I know they do the trophies. Did you go through? Do you recall if you got them all? Because
I definitely didn't. I got the game from the publishers, which kind of surprised me because I was like, I'm never going to get approved for this game because in my mind, I'm like, this game is going to be huge because it just looks so good. But that's me. That's how my brain goes, And so I was shocked. And they've been amazing. Like, they're so cool on social media and stuff like that. I only got, hold on, I'm trying to look for my achievements here. I know I did not get all of them. I don't think
there's
I got
a couple
many.
of them that are dumb that like you intentionally would have to go for.
I've only got 5 out of 16.
Okay. So some of them are really fun to do.
Okay.
Mainly this one called True Virtue, which is escaping the cave with one prayer. So you only pray one time to get out of that first cave sequence.
Okay.
But the one that I wanted to call out is if you weren't looking at the trophy list or the achievement list on Steam, you had one of them pop just playing the game that you need to go back and look at because it's hilarious. It's the one that's called Abstinence. I believe that is one that you will have had.
I don't have that one.
Interesting. So.
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I do.
I feel like that one's unmissable.
What the hell was
that? So the
one
Abstinence is when they're in the fish factory and they're drying their clothes, so they take all their clothes off to get them dry.
Yes.
It's for not taking a screenshot in that section. Yeah.
Really? So you get an achievement if you don't take a screenshot.
The trophy's called Abstinence.
I do have
the caption for it is no screenshots, please.
Oh, see, mine says watch the drying scene.
Oh, the trophy, it just says no screenshots, please.
That's really funny.
I'm like, that's hilarious.
That's funny. I got one for drowning in the pond 10 times.
Oh, no, I had to intentionally. So yeah, some of them were hilarious. Now, what's cool is after you finish the game, the chapters are selectable, and like all of these are like right at the beginning of the levels. And they're hilarious to do, like fall in the fish dryer 5 times. So you go in the fish factory and just let the fish fucking slap you and down into the fire. And you do it 5 times and you
That's
get an achievement.
amazing. I got the hit the piano against the
Yeah, that
wall
one's
5
hilarious
times.
too.
I got that by accident.
Unholy
Yeah,
Water, the
yep.
very second level, like when you leave, there's the raft and it's on the rope and that goes across the water. If you just jump into the water and die 5
Yes.
times, you get an achievement. Some of them are
It's amazing.
incredibly hard to find. The Portatissa, ridiculously hard to find. So like there's a cave you go into right after that boat and
Mhm.
there's a ladder, but if you go forward, you use the ladder to kind of just climb over a locked gate. If you take it back to the front of the cave, there's a spot you can lay the ladder. You climb up on top of the cave and
Oh.
there's a relic up there that you can get. There's another one where on the level right before you get to the big bridge that you move with the crane, if you
Yeah.
when he cuts off to the right, if you cut off to the left, you'll eventually come to a spot hidden around a corner where there's a little chair and a little table and a nudie magazine. And
Game is
you
fucking
get an
crazy.
achievement for finding the naughty magazine. So, yeah, really cool game, really fun to play. I strongly recommend it.
Yeah,
It's
I
dirt
agree.
cheap. Just check this game out if you're into those kind of things.
It took me 6 hours, and normally it takes me forever to get through games. It took me 6 hours.
I think it took me 5 to do the game and get the whole trophy list clear. So it's quick. Kim, we're finally at the final segment of the show.
I know.
It's time for One Up.
Yeah.
I'm going to excite you a little bit with my One Up because I bought Bramble the Mountain King.
Oh my god, that
So
game!
I know I've already played it. I already beat it on Xbox. But I'm looking at the Days of Play sale. And I'm like, you know what? They want $9 for this. I'm buying it. And I'm going to play this game again because I love this game so much. And I'm going to get the Platinum Trophy for it. Just hands down, that's happening. So I bought that. I rebought The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2. I'm like, I'm such a stan for these fucking games. I need to become the ultimate source for these games. So like a lot of my decision making right now is based around platinuming games and games that I feel like I should have platinums for. I'm like, for how much of a stan I am for The Last of Us Part 1 and 2, I'm like, I need to buy these. I got Cyberpunk 2077, which of course I beat, but I've only played on the janky fucking original launch release PS4 version. So I'm going to experience this game at a frame rate higher than 15 frames per second for the first time in my life.
They did a good job on it.
And
they did a really nice job.
I missed
Put a lot of love into
one
it.
trophy that's totally missable during my playthrough for it. So I'm finally going to go back and get that. And I bought the Phantom Liberty expansion.
Very nice.
And then finally I got Unicorn Overlord. Which I've been super excited to play. Like that's totally a Mike game. The Japanese strategy RPG. So yeah, my one up this week is the Days of Play sale is absolutely ridiculous for those out there like myself that like to play on PlayStation with the giant controller. That is my happy spot on my couch next to my dog with my cat on my lap. So yeah, after getting rid of all the physical games, I'm like, well, I need to re-get some of these digitally. So this was like the first big sale where I'm like, okay, I've got some money laying around from playing these gigs with bass, that it just accumulated in my Venmo that I didn't even remember was there. Perfect time. I'm like, let me blow a few bucks and get some of these games back that I'm gonna play again. So that's my one up this week, the Days of Play sale, which is pretty good.
Very cool.
You got anything for us for one up this week?
I have a one up. There is a Souls-like game coming out. Made by a dev team. It is their first game, and you get to play as a cat. and the graphics are really beautiful, and the cat movements are insane. Like they nailed like all like the little ear twitches and the tail, and it's coming out on June 6th. I will be playing it.
This looks
It
ridiculous.
is called Crystalla. It's so fun. I call it like the best way to describe it is baby's first Souls-like. Like if you've always wanted to play a Souls-like, but you're worried and you find it too daunting, man, Crystalla is like the perfect first Souls-like because it's dark, but it's also bright and there's magic and you're a cat and you get to pick what species you want to be. And it's going to be a really cool game. And I'm very, very excited for the devs. The devs are pretty awesome. I've been in contact with the founder of the studio, Astral Clock Tower Studios. Yeah. And I'm really excited for the game. So that's coming out on June 6th.
And they're even
really
taking care of our Switch kids. So if you have a Switch, this game's coming there.
Yep. Yeah. So that's my one up. I'm very excited for them and I'm super proud of them. And I'm excited to play it. Should be good. Should be fun. Because it's so, I mean, like how often you're playing a Souls-like game as a fucking cat. And the noises, like when you do your moves, you're like,
oh my gosh.
It's like fantastic. It's awesome. So I'm excited.
Well, very good. That wraps up Johnny's not here. We roll an hour and 40-minute long episode. Just us gabbing.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
We gab a lot.
I am satisfied. I think it's time for us to wrap this one up. So thank you for tuning in. We will, of course, be back again next week with another great episode of the Power Gamer Podcast for you to enjoy. Until that time, I'm Mike Dawson.
And I am Kim. I have no idea how these shows are going to go when I'm exhausted in the Netherlands. Ponticello.
Yeah, I'm curious to find out too. It'll be fun. Tune in next time. Take care.
That's right. I can do it because Johnny's not here.